the factors that shape who you become. Today I'm going to decode the thing that started everything, the thing that made you who you are today. This will be one of the most important videos in the Decoding the Grand Design series. It's a bit longer than my other videos, but I encourage you to stay with me until the end. I'm confident you'll hear a perspective you've never heard before. Chapter 1. What shapes your body? It comes from genetics, the environment, and time. You inherit a unique combination of genes from your mother and father. You develop within the environments you've experienced: prenatal development, hormones, nutrition, aging, and countless environmental influences. And over time, as you grow to your current age, all of these factors work together to shape the body you have today. This is nothing new, and it's not what I'm here to decode. Scientists figured this out a long time ago. In general, their conclusion is this: our physical traits, such as eye color, nose shape, lip shape, and jawline, skin color, height, are primarily determined by our genes. We inherit a unique combination of DNA from our parents, which serves as the blueprint for our appearance. However, our physical traits are also influenced by factors such as prenatal development, hormones, nutrition, aging, and environmental conditions. Together, these factors make every person's face unique. You can learn more from the resources listed on the screen. The links are in the description. But pay close attention to the phrase, primarily determined by our genes. This means your physical form is primarily determined before you are born. That is fate. The second factor after your genes that shapes your body is the environment. It can be divided into several stages of life. The most important stages is the first 1,000 days of your life, from the beginning of pregnancy until a child's second birthday. This also means that your family becomes the second major influence on your physical development. Were you born into a wealthy family? Did your family provide good care? Did you receive enough breast milk? Etc. For more information, please refer to the resources on the screen and in the description. Once again, that is fate. You can't choose the family you're born into. Another important stages are ages 2 to 5 and adolescence. Whether these stages are positive or not still depends largely on your family and then on the society you grow up in, where you live, which country you were born into, how prosperous it is, and the quality of its education. And that also is fate. You can't choose where you're born. If you're born in a developed country, you're incredibly fortunate. By contrast, many children are born in poor countries, where they face poverty, poor health care, limited educational opportunities, and sometimes even war. Their circumstances are heartbreaking. Have you noticed something? Your body is shaped primarily by fate. You decide a little bit by going to the gym. Countless self-help books and motivational speakers tell you the same thing. You are the one who decides who you become. This is a lie. You are simply deciding how many income for those authors. But hold on. Self-help books and motivational speakers talk about your mindset, beliefs, habits, emotions, goals, discipline, behavior, and identity, arguing that these are the things that primarily determine who you become. So, could I be wrong? No, I'm not wrong. Let's move to the part I'm going to decode today, the most important and fascinating part of this video. That is Chapter 2. What make your soul? Soul is what I call it. Scientists call mind consciousness. Our self-help experts call mindset, beliefs, habits, emotions, goals, discipline, behavior, and identity. What really makes it? If you've watched my video, Why Do Humans Dominate the World?, you'll recognize this part from the ending. The Creator bestowed upon humanity 5 elements, which I collectively call potential. Other species possess these elements as well, but not to the same extent, and not in the same abundance as humans. Potential is the driving force behind the thinking of all species. Here is that 5 elements. Fear. Fear is one of the most important survival tools in nature. Every species, from insects to humans, relies on it to stay alive. When an animal senses danger, its brain quickly searches for the safest response. If escape is possible, it runs. If escape is impossible, it fights. This is known as the fight-or-flight response. Fear is a protective mechanism. It helps us avoid unnecessary risks, recognize threats, and make decisions that increase our chances of survival. If you encounter a tiger in the wild, fear stops you from approaching it. Instead, it urges you to keep your distance or escape. Without fear, most animals, including humans, would take reckless risks and would be far less likely to survive. There's a game called Trust Fall. I first played it at a company team-building event. My HR manager, who constantly preached that the company was our second home, threatened to call the police when I needed money and put that second home up for sale. So much for family. She explained that this game was to build trust, develop teamwork, and foster cooperation. I guess she's also a fan of self-help books and motivational speakers. But perhaps God isn't a fan of this game. The problem with Trust Fall is that it tries to override one of the mechanisms God gave every living creature to protect itself. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't willingly fall backward because you can't be certain your teammate will catch you. That's exactly how it's supposed to work. It's an automatic response driven by fear. Fear exists to protect you. You shouldn't train yourself to abandon a natural instinct that exists to keep you safe. Curiosity.
The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science. He to whom the emotion is a stranger, who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe, is as good as dead. His eyes are closed. The insight into the mystery of life, coupled though it be with fear, has also given rise to religion. To know what is impenetrable to us really exists, manifesting itself as the highest wisdom and the most radiant beauty, which our dull faculties can comprehend only in their most primitive forms. This knowledge, this feeling, is at the center of true religiousness. Albert Einstein, Living Philosophies.
Just look at a baby. It naturally explores its surroundings. No one has to teach it to be curious. Curiosity is present from the moment a baby is born. It drives us to ask questions, seek answers, and venture into the unknown. Every scientific discovery, every great invention, and every journey into space began with curiosity. NASA, one of the world's most expensive organizations, exists because humans cannot resist asking, what's out there? Some people may question whether exploring space is worth the cost. But if God placed curiosity in every human being, then perhaps NASA exists because God intended us to keep exploring His universe. The cost may be enormous, but it is still smaller than humanity's curiosity. Ambition. Those who love money will say that there's never enough money. That's the nature of ambition. An athlete who breaks a national record soon wants to break the world record. After that, they strive to surpass even their own best performance. Our desires rarely have a final destination. Every achievement would become the starting point for the next one. God gave humans ambition to keep them moving forward. Ambition is the desire to become more than you are today. It pushes individuals to improve their abilities, acquire resources, gain influence, and leave a lasting impact. While curiosity asks, what can I learn? Ambition asks, what can I achieve? This drive has fueled countless inventions, businesses, discoveries, and civilizations throughout history. Without ambition, people would settle for survival instead of progress. Most animals store food only for a short period, at most a few days. That is the limit of their ambition. Once a pigeon has satisfied its hunger, it rests without worrying about tomorrow, even if winter's approaching. For most animals, each day is lived on its own. Humans are different. We want our homes to be filled with food and possessions. We always want more than we currently have. This ambition has driven us to develop increasingly advanced skills and technologies. allowing us to produce and accumulate more wealth. As people sought to create, exchange, and protect that wealth, markets emerged. In many ways, this marked the beginning of civilization. Ego. Ego is the desire to be recognized and valued by others. This is the core element that made Facebook so successful. If nobody knows you exist, do you really exist? Deep down, we want others to see us, to know that we are rich, beautiful, talented, kind, or happy. Recognition gives us a sense of identity. It makes us feel that we matter, that we are someone special rather than just another face in the crowd. If curiosity and ambition drive individuals to grow, ego helps society move forward together. In a race, if every runner wants to be first, the entire group is likely to finish faster than a group in which no one cares about winning. Competition fueled by ego pushes people to perform at their best, raising the standard for everyone. Just like the above elements, ego starts from the day we are born. The brain does not need to be large enough to form an ego. Kids always want to be the central figure of a family, to be noticed by everyone. When you have a second child, pay attention to the first child. Most likely it is hurt because it is no longer the center of the family. Love. Love includes romantic love, love for family, and love for everything else that God created. Do you love nature? Do you feel sad when you see animals losing their habitats? Do you feel compassion for children living in poverty? Do you love your family? Do you long to love and be loved by someone? Love is the final piece of the puzzle. It balances the other human drives and enables society to grow together. Without love, fear, curiosity, ambition, and ego can all become self-serving. After surviving by fear, learning through curiosity, achieving success through ambition, and earning recognition through ego, we ultimately spend all of those achievements on love. Parents sacrifice everything to raise their children. Billionaires donate their fortunes to improve the lives of others. Romeo gives his life for Juliet. Human rights activists risk their freedom to defend strangers. Love brings us together and draws us closer to God. I call these 5 elements potential. Here are the characteristics of potential. First, these 5 elements are present from the moment we are born. They do not need to be taught, nor do they depend on the brain reaching a certain age, size, or stage of development. They are more like built-in functions pre-installed in a computer before it leaves the factory. Do not confuse not being expressed with not existing. A child is born with fear, but an infant does not fear hot water because they have not yet learned that it can cause burns, nor can they imagine what a burn feels like. Yet infants are often frightened when left alone because they lack a sense of security. Children are naturally curious about the world around them. They also instinctively try to take whatever they can and are reluctant to share their toys with other children. This is an expression of ambition. Not sharing is natural. Sharing is a rule they are expected to follow unconditionally under the guidance of adults. Ego reveals itself in a child's desire to be the center of attention. A child may cry if they believe you love another child more than them. Finally, children naturally love the people who care for them. Second, these 5 elements are the fundamental components of human nature. Other emotion stems from them. For example, you panic because of fear. You feel heartbroken because you love someone. You feel joyful after solving a difficult problem. You become angry because a colleague surpasses you, and you feel excited when you're about to explore a cave that no one has ever explored before. Some of the body's responses, such as hunger and thirst, are physiological needs. They only satisfy your immediate needs temporarily. They are not part of human nature itself. They function as survival mechanisms that keep humans and other animals alive. Once those needs are satisfied, those responses disappear. Humans and animals both experience hunger, but humans often gather far more food than they need because of their potential, not because of hunger itself. A bear will eat only enough fish to satisfy its hunger, even if the river is full of fish. A human, on the other hand, may catch as many fish as possible, using the surplus to trade for something else, or simply to impress a girlfriend with their fishing skills. Potential also differs from physiological needs in an important way. Physiological needs are largely the same for everyone, whereas potential varies from person to person. Everyone feels hungry, but not everyone is afraid of snakes. Everyone has a limited capacity to eat, roughly the same as everyone else. But not everyone feels the need to catch a huge number of fish, as illustrated in the story Leisuremen, Businessmen, and the Definition of a Happy Life. Third, just as your genes primarily determine your body, these 5 elements primarily determine your personal identity. The second factor, after your potential, that shapes your soul is again the environment. For example, imagine 2 people with the same level of potential. Their fear is therefore the same. However, the person living in North Korea is likely to fear the government far more than the person living in the United States. Combined with many other social influences, this leads to 2 very different personal identities. And once again, you yourself also play a small role in shaping your soul simply by watching this video. Fourth, potential is non-material. Unlike the material world, it cannot be seen or touched, yet both were created by God. As such, potential is neither good nor evil in itself. Fire, for example, was created by God, yet humans can use it to prepare food or to take lives. Likewise, God created uranium, its isotopes, and the laws of physics and chemistry. Whether uranium is used to produce electricity that improves human life, or to build nuclear weapons that bring destruction, is entirely a matter of human choice. Some people may argue that each of these 5 elements has both positive and negative sides. For example, many motivational speakers claim that if you are too fearful, you will struggle to succeed. But success is determined by knowledge, not by fear itself. If you invest in something while constantly repeating to yourself, "I'm not afraid, I dare to do it," you'll likely go bankrupt soon. Fear exists to make you respect risk. It pushes you to prepare, plan, and reduce the chance of failure. It's no different from keeping a safe distance when you encounter a tiger in the wild. The important role of potential. The most important role of potential is to create motivation. Potential makes you think, even in your free time. Potential drives you to keep improving every day. Potential led humanity to protect the Earth, and it is also leading humanity beyond the Earth in search of new discoveries. Potential is something God has given to humans more than to any other animal. It is what makes humans special. Another important role of potential is that it drives morality. If you love nature, you will not want to destroy it. If you love your spouse, you will feel guilty about betraying them. Love is what motivated the man on the bridge in The Trolley Story to stop and ask himself whether he should save the 5 people. Had he not cared about others, he could have simply walked away as if nothing had happened. You are willing to donate a small amount of money to charity to help strangers because you feel compassion for their situation. Potential motivates you to reflect on your own actions and encourages you to choose the more ethical path. However, potential is only the driving force. To truly live an ethical life, you need enough power to act on your choices. That is knowledge, which potential gradually builds over time. Distribution of potential. The story Leisureman, Businessman, and the Definition of a Happy Life in the video Controversial Stories illustrates that we do not all possess the same potential. Compared with other animals, human potential is far greater. However, when comparing one person with another, potential is also distributed unevenly. It follows a normal distribution. Potential and its distribution is the thing that starts everything. Potential will be a recurring concept throughout the Decoding the Grand Design series, serving as the theoretical foundation for decoding the complexities of society.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching.